There is a reason why things don't go according to plan, no matter how elaborate. And it's a simple reason if you really think through it, and that is that no plan, however sophisticated, can encapsulate the nuance and complexity of the actual real world. You can approximate it, you can run simulations, you can come up with uh, good, you know, fairly precise approximations, but nothing ever goes perfectly according to plan. And it's the same reason, what I'm describing, why narrative is more important than um, uh, is it epistemological data? I think epistemological is the right word there. Uh, I could be thinking of a different word. Hold on. What word am I thinking of? Epistemology, the theory of knowledge, validity and scope. What is epidemiology? Branch of medicine, incidence distribution. Did you call?
Yeah, I ordered one. Trocando a fralda da Sofia. Fez um monte de xixi.
Hi, sweetie.
Ó, não. Amorzinho, você tá toda suja. Depois a gente vai tomar banho primeiro. Vem, vamos na sala. Não, Laura, por favor, não sobe na cama. Vem, Laura. Laura, não. Não, vem pra cá. Amorzinho, você tá toda suja. Vamos. Ó, vamos lá ver. Vamos lá escutar a música da Elsa. É.
Okay, I talked in my previous video about um, the constrained versus the unconstrained vision for the future. Constrained visions are those that are couched in reality and pragmatic, and um, by virtue of being pragmatic and couched in reality, as I've said, they tend to be positive in their outcomes. Whereas unconstrained visions are those that are based in ideology, based in utopian thinking, based in self-aggrandizing narcissism, and those views, unconstrained, result in tyrannies of oppression and the inability to bend in the face of new evidence. Unconstrained visions have led to the tragedies of the 20th century. Here's a way of thinking about it that actually I find to be fairly on the nose. The evil villain in any great story is always the one that has an elaborate plan. Now, my brain being ever contrarian throws the Joker as a great villain who admittedly is not a planner into the mix. So notwithstanding the Joker, the classic villain is one who has an elaborate plan for their, machinations. If you've lived any amount of life, you will have found that nothing ever goes according to plan, at least perfectly according to plan, simply because it's impossible for any plan to encapsulate the nuance and complexity of the actual real world. We only exist within the real world. The idea that we can run a simulation that has in and of itself the entirety of the universe is a logical fallacy. We seem to be working at it diligently in the construction of neural nets and AI, and that's a whole other topic. But anyway, just to speak to the earlier point of constrained versus unconstrained visions, this is a concept that I was just introduced to by Thomas Sowell, and it's a very interesting thing, and that is the utopian thinking of certain political groups moves a otherwise logical, prosperous civilization to tyranny and horror, because if one believes that the only reason that things haven't happened according to your plan, right? If you're going to put yourself in the place of these tyrants, is because of some injustice, then you put at the feet of your own shortcomings or malevolence the perceived evils of the world. That's a real dangerous thought process to go down. Reality is constrained. That is to say, the heroes of any story where the villains are the ones that have this elaborate plan that they try to make the world conform to, the hero almost, across the board is the one that, when faced with the adventure of, all things having gone wrong, finds a way to persevere and overcome adversity and, save the day. Experience of life in reality shows one, to the degree to which they're not in a bubble, that things don't go according to plan. Life is full of adversity. Internal and external strife is a fact of life. It is not an affront to your utopian vision. Again, that's what I mean to present as the real issue that especially academics seem to fall into. That's what's so interesting about this recognition, historically and contemporarily. It's especially smart narcissistic people that fall into the trap of, becoming the Bond villain, of wanting the world to conform to their views. It's this idea that, all past, tyrannies only failed and resulted in mass, horrors because I wasn't the one running it, right? If I was the head of the the party in power, I would have figured it out. I would have brought the utopia to the masses, and that is it's a extraordinarily attractive way of thinking for the vain, narcissistic, naive idealist that you often find, uh, you know, in Ivy League freshman courses, right? We select for that, and indoctrinating young, intelligent, ambitious people into an unconstrained vision of the future is just so damning for our culture, because you get this self-righteous, hateful, spiteful group of people that think that all deviations from their vision of a perfect future are because of a malevolent actor. Um, and call it the patriarchy or white men or the rich or whatever you want to call it. It just is a license for bad behavior. It's a carte blanche for malevolence. And interestingly enough, surfing taught me to have a constrained vision. The ocean isn't good, bad, or indifferent. It's the ocean. It is what it is. And only through understanding can one dance with the ocean. Any surfer will tell you, if you care to ask them, the depth of understanding that they have of their home break. I've waxed poetic about this before, but in short, it's a fallacy to think that surfers surf 1,000 places one time. They surf one place 1,000 times, and that's because it's about having a relationship with that place. You see it in all its different moods: the current, the wind, the tide, the swell direction, et cetera, et cetera. Having a relationship with your life is the same way. It need be constrained by an understanding of the myriad variables that have a function on the directionality of your life. It's only ideologically possessed, mad individuals that think that life is simple and it ought to go according to their plan. And if not, it's because they don't have enough power. That's something that smart, reasonable, rational, respectful people need argue against. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm only able to articulate my peace of mind fairly because I have faced and come to terms with my own ignorance, my own inability to fully simulate the world inside my mind, right? I can surf because I know I'm not more powerful than the ocean. What I think that is interesting and worth really delving into is we have an aristocratic class in the United States, the Ivy Leaguers, the heads of industry, again, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, that I talked about in my previous video, that have unconstrained visions. These people want to be emperors. They think that Bill Gates can control the future. And that's how you get genocide. I can't belabor this point enough. It's people that think that they can control the world that end up making a real mess of it. And it's through impositions of checks on power, like the three, functions of government, existed in the United States, the English common law system that presumes innocence until guilt is proven, through things like freedom of the press and association, such that you have, dissenting voices able to be heard. We've come up with the answers to unconstrained visions rising to prominence throughout history. We've had to learn this lesson over and over and over. Unfortunately, it seems like we're going to have to learn it again, because again, we have hugely rich, empowered groups of people that are, built by individual, narcissistic, greedy, unconstrained, wannabe tyrants. And it's only until we, as a culture, as a society, as a nation, can have a healthy debate that shows that it's only through, having the known and our, our theories and beliefs and values on the one hand being brought to bear, but at the very same time having in equal parts our awe and wonder and shared ignorance at the goings on of the cosmos and consciousness itself, and the appreciation of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and the human condition, couched in a playing by the rules of dissenting views and opinions, such that we can come to a higher understanding of who we are, where we came from, where we're going, and how to get there. And descent into tyranny comes when we lose the appreciation of the unknown. And it's a special person that can articulate the unknown, whether it comes from a religious place or a psychedelic place or a humanist place, or just a shared positivity and appreciation of the possibilities of the future. Wherever this comes from, we need to be able to pull our heads out of our butts and not allow unconstrained, idealistic, naive, utopian, would-be tyrants lead us into, a soylent green, carbon negative, nouveau Marxist hellscape. And it seems like, the people over here that don't know what they don't know, they don't appreciate that the unknown is easily equal parts, if not vastly greater than the known, are rushing us towards. So anyway, that's my video. I wanted to just add a little bit more criteria to, a little bit more context to the first video, calling out kind of our corporate overlords in BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. They clearly own all our politicians, and it's a rigged game. But the difference between the villain and the hero in any story is both have been scarred by life. The villain wants to hurt the world for hurting them. The hero, also having been orphaned and scarred by life, doesn't want anybody else to feel that same pain. So I think whenever you're evaluating your behavior in an effort to do the best that you can and be the most righteous and good that you can in your life, see what side you're operating from, a side of grace and mercy, of not wanting anybody to ever suffer the way that you did, or if you're operating from a place of perceived righteousness against, the evil oppressors, because that's an easy way to frame oneself when doing evil. So just something to think about. I hope you guys enjoy my videos. Happy 2024. Love you very much. I'm going to go get pizza for the family.